on in here, baby. Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. That's a big bass. That's a big bass. Rod over here. Very nice. Alrighty. Hey folks, look at the fat fish right there. That's what we're fishing for today. We're here on Lake Champlain in Vermont for some early season cranking. And I'll tell you, that is one chunky bass. Glad you could join me.
Coming up. On this week's episode, Bob's got an early season fever for largemouth bass. Itching for bass fishing, he heads to Lake Champlain in Vermont for the remedy. Early season temperatures and cool water conditions call for a crankbait to lure these cold water fish to strike. Running and gunning, Bob covers water looking for areas and structure that can hold bass in the spring. And as the temperature rises, the action heats up.
Oh, nice jump. There we go, boys. Whoa.
Look at that magnificent fish.
Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Look at the size of that fish.
I think I love it.
Get him, Bob. Get him, Bob. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Real Fishing Show with Bob Izumi.
All right. That is a big rainbow trout, Chris.
And the Bobby Zumi pose?
That is awesome, girl. Yeah. That is all right. Man, that is so cool. Look at the color of that. Isn't that something? Nice. Look at that chunk. Whoa, baby.
Real Fishing is sponsored by Mercury, #1 on the water, and Tim Hortons.
On the Real Fishing Show, we make catching fish like this a possibility. You know, the real key during the spring season is water temperature. And right now, you know, it's cold. It's in the low 50s. I'm down in Vermont. I'm on Lake Champlain, and Lake Champlain is a phenomenal fishery. It's a renowned bass fishery. But here I am at the early part of May, and we've had a cold front. You know, it's pretty cool out. Warm weather's coming in a few days, but I'm just looking for some of these early season bass, and they've got a unique early season here where you can come out and catch and release. Oh, there's fish. Catch and release the fish. And here we go. Oh yeah, there's a little largemouth right there. And what I'm doing is I'm cranking, and one of the keys is this time of year, you want to find the warmest water. That's real important, the warmest water. And they're moving in to spawn, but you know, they're still a ways from the spawn yet. It's still pretty cold, the main lake. Look at how light colored that fish is. All right. That fish was even cold to the touch. So what I'm doing is looking for areas where they're staging, where they're sitting, waiting to move to the back bays. And if you look back there, you know, you can see the boat back in the back. That area there is, you know, a warm back bay, perfect spawning area for the largemouth. So now what I'm doing is I'm looking for areas, and I've never fished this area of Lake Champlain in my life. This is just one of those spots that I, you know, was looking on the chart and saw that everything looked good for a spawning bay. You know, you've got the big shallow back bay area, but I know that the water temperature is so cold, the fish just don't seem to be there. So I'll just see if I can find them out here, just in that in-between water. Here we go. got my drag fairly loose on these. You know, and that's one thing you gotta do is you gotta match your tackle to what you're doing. And what I'm doing here is using obviously crankbait, and I've got a very soft rod. I've got one of the new Crucial crankbait rods, and these rods are specifically designed for crankbaits. And one of the keys is a nice soft parabolic action. And if I can just show you there how the action of this is. Look at this rod. Very soft action all the way down through the blank to at least halfway through. And that soft action allows that bass to just suck it in. You know, it seems like in the spring you can catch all sizes of bass when you get into areas, but here it seems like they're all pretty much, you know, all 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. They're not real big, but I'm sure we'll find some bigger ones as we move along, especially if the sun would come out. Need some warmth. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When we return, Bob cranks more of Lake Champlain for early season largemouth bass. Stay tuned. Closed captioning is brought to you by BoaterExam.com. Let's take a look down under with this week's Fish Eye View, sponsored by Toro. Count on it. Many different things add up to a successful day on the water. Being at the right place at the right time is high on the list. So too is being fully prepared with a good assortment of baits and proper tackle for the job. Doing your homework really does pay off. With all this going for them, some anglers still manage to miss out on big opportunities. Just as it is in golf, there's a state of mind that leads to success. The biggest component of this is confidence. Most of us have favorite lures, rods, and lines which boost confidence. Out on the water, believing that every cast will bring a strike means you'll fish harder with full and undivided attention. On the other hand, as soon as you become distracted and lose focus, it's easy to miss those light bites. Fact is, many fish initially taste test a potential meal before committing to eat it. When bothered by panfish and small fry, most of us unwittingly move on. Having the confidence to continue working the same location pays off in the long run. Finally, when you do get a hit and miss on the hook set, resist the temptation to reel in empty-handed, only to make another cast which may be off the mark. Instead, exhibit confidence by keeping that bait in the zone.
I've just pulled into a new area here, and as you can see, the water temperature is warmer over on this side of the lake. It's 58 degrees now, and it's just you know, midday, so the water's warmed up a bit. That's a good thing. And there's a nice rock point here that's got a bay on either side of it for spawning, so this rock point's worth a try. I'm going to crank it and see what happens. So let's see what happens here. There we go. Oh yeah, that feels like a better fish. Of course, they all feel good. They all feel good when you're using a nice soft crankbait rod. I love it. Boy, the light color of the water's got a bit of a stain to it here. And check this crankbait out. It's made by a Japanese lure designer, Hiroshi Nishin. It's got a willow leaf on the bottom. It's a square bill. It's got the circuit board bill. And he hand makes these lures. He sells them pretty well all to Japan. That's where most of his lures get sold. And that's how he makes a living, is just selling these crankbaits to the Japanese market. But I'd met him a couple of years. Oh, here's a fish. Here we go. Oh, he came off. I'd met him a few years ago in British Columbia, and he gave me a couple of his lures, and I go, these things are awesome. And he makes a number of different baits. They're hard, they're a foam, hard sort of plastic type bait. Does them right up in his basement. Okay, I'm gonna get a fish right here on this. There we go. It's almost like you can call your shots. Once you get that perfect angle on a school of bass like we've got on this point here, you can almost call your shot. Come on, bass. Oh yeah, cool. And it's just like, the whole thing with any fishing is just getting the right cast and presentation. Now, you got to think that all fish, when there's current or wave action like we've got now, are going to be facing into the wind. So they're going to be facing at us. So one of the keys in this case is I'm just cranking this point here where those fish are just positioned facing into me. Now, these being pre-spawn fish, you know, it's so early in the season, I believe these fish here are just, you know, feeding up a little bit before they move into the backs of these coves to start spawning, which will happen in the next, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on what kind of weather we get. Okay, I'll see if I can get a good cast right in here. Right there.
Coming up, Covering Water lands Bob an unexpected bonus. Stay tuned. This tip of the week is sponsored by Coleman, the outdoor company.
When it comes to fishing line, there's nobody bigger in the world than the folks at Pure Fishing. I'm here with Chris Hockley, the Canadian marketing manager. And Chris, you know, when it comes to saltwater fishing, ice fishing, fishing toothy critters, fishing panfish, doesn't matter what species, you guys have line for it, don't you?
Absolutely we do. I mean, we're the #1 line manufacturer in the world.
Well, I'll tell you, the amount of different types of line can be mind-boggling, but what's great for guys like me and you that fish a lot is you got us covered. Now, let's talk about fluorocarbon today. Now, there's 3 different brands of fluorocarbon we're going to talk about, but all slightly different, aren't they?
They are, yeah, and some of the benefits, I know you've mentioned that you use the Berkeley 100% Trilene for virtually everything that you're doing. And that's a great all-around line. It's probably our #1 fluorocarbon in just the fact that it's a multi-purpose. It's a good all-around line. It's a great quality, professional grade. Yep. But if you are doing some specific techniques, for example, if you're dragging, as we were doing the other day, if you're dragging tubes, that might be the better choice for you. Specifically around the Great Lakes region, some of the other regions where there's rocky bottoms, but there's also all those zebra mussels. This line has more abrasion resistance than any of the other the lines that we have. So if I'm dragging that across the bottom, that's the one that I want down there. It's just going to hold up longer.
A little thicker diameter than 100% Trilene?
It is a little thicker diameter, and of course, like I always say, it's harder to cut through a tree that's 2 feet across than it is, you know, 2 inches across. So, and that's exactly what that line is. Another premium line, but great for the snarls and heavy abrasion stuff.
Now, how about the Spider Wire Ultra Cast 100% fluorocarbon? What's the difference with it?
Well, the Spider Wire its claim to fame has always been tensile strength. It has the smallest diameter for its strength, and the 100% fluorocarbon follows right straight through with that in the lineup. And that if you're going to be doing straight drop shots, anything where you're doing a vertical presentation where you're not dragging it, that's going to be the ideal line because it's by far the thinnest. Now, will it handle all the other applications? It will, absolutely. Same with the Stren. Just won't do as good a job as it is for that particular one. And that's where the 100% fluorocarbon with Berkeley comes in. It's a happy median between those two. And you know, for the guy who doesn't know that, you know, I'm always going to be dragging, I'm always going to be drop shotting, this is the line for you.
All right. Well, you know, it's nice to have choices, especially for keeners like us. And Chris, thanks a bunch. I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
my pleasure.
Hey, welcome back. You know, I've been doing a lot of running and gunning today, and I just switched up. I went to a heavier crucial crankbait rod. It's a longer rod here, and look at this. Check this smallmouth out here. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Nice smallmouth. Sweet. Oh, yeah. That's a nice smallmouth right there. Look at that. Yeah, I changed it up, and I just using actually another one of Nishan's baits here. And, you know, once again, it's got that willow leaf on the bottom. And it's a silent crankbait. Doesn't have any rattles in it. Look at that brown fish. That's a nice smallmouth right there. Very nice. Yeah. All right, see you later, guy. Now, I think what I'll do is pack up and get out now where some more wind-blown points and see. Now, that was a bonus, even though I've been fishing largemouth today. That was a bonus getting that smallmouth there. That was pretty cool. Very nice. Running and gunning. Doing a lot of spot jumping today.
When we return, Bob gets to the point to find what he was looking for. Stay tuned.
Oh, there's a fish. That's a better one there. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. just the way it sucked it under, you could tell it's a better one. Oh yeah. Now this one here just took it by, I'm just gonna net him. There. Just the way that bass sucked it under, you could tell it was a better one. All right. Look at that, just one hook in his mouth. Very nice. A lot of times if you hold a bass like this, it'll just sort of sedate it, and then watch. No problem. Back in the water. You know, once again, what I've been doing today is just point hopping, hitting a lot of rock points. This one here has only got a bit of a breeze blowing through it. The wind's actually coming down and actually blowing across this point. Previously, I hit a point there that had a lot of wind on it, and you know, they're just little staging areas for those largemouth to be. Okay. It's amazing how they're schooled up off this point. And you see, that's a muddy water bass, how light it is there. That's a fish that's out of that murky water. So fire another long cast up in there. There's fish. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Whoa, baby. It's funny, I looked down and I could see rocks under me, so I decided to cast out further where it was deeper. And the fish was farther out. So a lot of times, you know, not only your depth finder, but your sunglasses are important just to see what's out there, because there's a rock point. It's a little bit of a hidden one, a secondary point off the main point there where the wind is. There's another rock point out here that's comes way out. Oh, here's one. Oh, baby. Oh. Alrighty. Once again, I just pulled up on another point, and seems like every point got some largemouth on it. This thing here feels like it's got a little bit of weight to it. Darn. Typical here. I just come out of the wind to get out of the wind, and what have we got here? Oh yeah, nice largemouth right there. Nice. Man, that's a good one right there. All right. That's a decent largemouth. That's what we're looking for. All righty. You know, folks, cranking for largemouth. It's one of those lures that's easy to use. Really, you want to just develop a cadence with your crankbait, and you know, whether you're using it fast, medium, slow, stop, go, whatever, just figure out what the fish want. Now the water's cold on today's outing, so I've been using these crankbaits real slow and got a nice one. All right, folks, we'll see you next week right here for some more reel fishing. All right. Yeah, all right. This is a big fish. That is a fish of a lifetime. Well, that is just amazing. Look at that thing. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, man. Woo. That was too cool. Oh, man, what a fish. Look at that.